So I'm standing outside of the infamous warehouse project that a lot of you guys have seen that I've talked about online. I own this 8-unit right here. How I got this lead is I was actually walking down this alley and I heard someone talking inside here, and I just knocked on the door. She told me to come around. She said all kinds of people were making offers on the property and wanted to know what the offer I would make, and I made my offer, and here we are. Now I own this big old warehouse. Now I got to figure out what to do with it. So I'll walk you guys through it. This is one of those buildings where, you know, we're right downtown. We have a big attorney's office. We got luxury apartments here. These are all attorneys' offices with apartments above it. That big building is the federal courthouse for the county. Yeah, this is just one of those buildings that everyone's driven by. It was an old school landlord that owned it, and he actually had passed away, but so many people just were like, oh, Terry will never sell, Terry will never sell. And one day I was walking by here, I heard people talking inside, and it was a female, so I didn't knock because it was a female, but I just knew it wasn't Terry. Terry's not a female. I knocked on the door, and she basically was like, oh, you know, no, we're not interested. And then I knocked, I'm like, no, I'd like to talk to you. I knew your dad. And I just kind of assumed, you know, it was, you know, his daughter and whatnot, and or something like that. I don't quite remember. So she told me to come around back. I went in, and then that's when she had told me Terry had passed away. And I was like, wow, this is like a perfect opportunity. They're probably going to be looking to sell this building. And then I just shot my shot, and then here we are. So my plan for this building is to put 12 or 14 apartments in here. So far, the city has already said I can do it. Basically, what I'm trying to just get through now is some permitting and easement. So like this parking lot right here is parking for the courthouse. The city owns this. I have to get an easement in case of a fire. I basically need the city to say that I'm allowed to enter this parking lot. And then I also need them to commit to not putting up any type of wall or fence here that would block my people from getting out of the property if there was a fire. So the downside to working with the city on something like that is they might make me present them with, you know, plans, MEPs, the mechanicals, the electricals, the plumbing before they even have a discussion with me. Well, that might cost me $60,000 to put those plans together. So right now I have my attorney working with the city solicitor, which is basically the attorney that represents the city, to try to work through that so I don't have to spend so much money just to get them to say, yes, you can drive through our parking lot. I gotta walk like all the way to the other side. Follow me. So this warehouse here, now that we're inside, it's basically all organized trash. So I don't know exactly what the situation was, but basically the guy owned a bunch of rental properties. So he used this as storage for like plumbing stuff, locks. But at the same time, it looks like he might've had a little bit of a problem. I don't think he was a hoarder or anything, but it looks like he maybe went to auctions and bought some stuff at box lots and just, you know, stacked it over. So some other people have already picked through this. So there's not a ton of gold in here, but there is some cool stuff. You got some neon lights here. I don't know what this says. Guinness? Is that what this says? Yeah, Guinness, that's pretty cool. Stuff like this. These are commercial door locks. These are probably 45 bucks at Home Depot, so I'm gonna keep a few of those. Just like a little bit of everything. Anyways, I wanna actually set some of these aside because the guy who's trashing this building out for me. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is like $300 right here. I ain't letting this go into the dumpster. So this is kind of the first floor here. Everything from that side back, once this is empty, will probably be just like tenant storage, common area. I'll have my sprinkler system, stuff like that. And then from here forward, I would like to make this a commercial unit. Either, you know, I could see maybe a coffee shop being in here, something like that. Some, you know, working small business, something cool with like a garage door that opens up into the alley. I think it could be pretty cool. Plus the city would really like to see, they like when there's business on the first floor of these buildings. They don't really want residential on the first floor for whatever reason. So this building here, it's 4 stories. That includes the first floor. So then there's 3 stories above that. This building, from my understanding, used to at one point was like a pharmacy. It was a bakery. And then it was some kind of like warehouse for a hardware store, which kind of obviously makes sense then. So the deal I worked with the guys that are gonna help me clean this place out, basically what we're gonna do is they're gonna junk this out and then they're gonna try to salvage anything without wasting time and possibly sell it. And then we're gonna split that. So if they find, let's see what's in here. So a bunch, here we go. So doorknobs, say there was a market for doorknobs and someone wants to buy all these doorknobs for $100. me and the guys that are split or that are trashing out will each make 50 bucks. The scrap metal, which there's obviously a ton of it. Scrap is obviously not super valuable, but when you have so much of it, it does add up. We're gonna also split that. And then I'll pay for all the dump fees, and then I'll pay their labor to trash it out. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. You have like this right here. This is a coin counter. So you'd throw your coins in here, they'd all come out. Here's another coin counter. I tried to turn this one on the other day and I couldn't get it turned on. So maybe that's why it's in here, because it's broke. But, and then if you've come over here, you can kind of see where the guy he basically had his own hardware store. And he was super, super organized. The only reason stuff's on the floor is because I came in here and started rooting. But you had light bulbs, light switches. This was like all his electrical stuff. More light switches, plate covers, fixtures. These are draft covers. You put these on behind your outlets, and believe it or not, sometimes drafts come through your outlets, like around the outlets. And if you put these on, and then put your plate cover on, it kind of stops the air from coming in there with foam. You know, this guy had a little bit of everything. Shoelaces, hooks, appliance knobs. I don't know what an appliance knob is. Okay, so for your, stove, drawer knobs, light parts. You know, this was before Home Depot, before Lowe's. You had to save stuff, right? Electric breakers. You know, these are a couple bucks a piece at Lowe's. So if he could pick one or two up at an auction and save them for his rental properties, that's what he did. It was honestly genius. I mean, he's got a little bit of everything. Back in this room, he stocked all his, this is more doorknobs, some plumbing supplies. I mean, he's got old mortise locks. He's got, some of this stuff's brand new. It's pretty crazy. And believe it or not, when you're in the business, like I own a lot of old buildings. So like, this is like an old mortise lock that just hooks to the door. They're actually valuable. For me, I'll probably take some of this stuff, but I can't come in here and take this stuff because it's gonna end up just, sitting wherever I put it. Windshield wipers. I had someone come in here and, a lot of houses in the United States were built in like the 50s, 60s, 70s. So you got all these globes. So maybe if I hold on to those for another 30 years, everyone who owns a house now will need to come buy them from me, and I'll have something.
It's on the same old warehouse?
It gets a little thinner as you work your way up. There is a service elevator here that I'm trying to get maintenance to come in and fix it so we can use it to get this stuff out of here. You have all these industrial carts. These things are actually more valuable than you'd think. People are now buying these, taking the wheels off of them, or they'll leave the wheels on and they'll use these in their house as like a, piece of furniture actually. You got a full kitchen set here, probably from the 80s. But it's actually like, this is nicer than a lot of cabinets you see now, all solid wood. Like these are actually valuable for, as a landlord or someone that does stock, you could put your parts in here and send them out with your maintenance guys, stuff like that. There's a little bit of everything in here. A lot of shopping. He must have bought some shopping stuff. Here's an old, what is this, a Walkman? Did you have a Walkman when you were younger?
I did not. I had like the CD.
This was before, same. This was before my time. Yeah, I thought this would be one of the areas where, it's a toy I touched the other day. It's still going. It's a baby bottle. This has been buzzing for like a week and a half now. 1988. Maybe I should bring that home for my daughter. Chains, a little bit of everything in here. But to talk about a little bit of my vision, so what I see here is, I like the exposed brick, I like the beam idea, but at the end of the day, I really just want to try to get the most economical units in here. If we can save the brick and leave it in some of the units, I will, but if it needs to be covered, I'll cover it. But I'm going to try to get 4 apartments on each floor here. That'll give me the most, the most rent, because even a 1 bedroom, $1,000 times 4 is $4,000. You have 3 floors of those. That's more money than if I have, 2 bedrooms on each floor. But we'll work with an architect and figure out, what makes the most financial sense and figure out what I can get in here. I may actually also just trash this building out and just put it on the market. But I'd really like to try to work with the city and get some approvals first. That way I actually have something that's marketable and that I can sell. But unfortunately, the elevator's not working right now, and all the heavy shit is on this 4th floor. You got furnaces, refrigerators, filing cabinets, cast iron tubs, lawn mowers. This is pretty cool too. York was the first capital of the United States. So there's like a lot of old companies that are from York. This itself isn't that cool. Like everyone's seen an old cash register like this, but there's a sticker on here that says York Cash Register Company, and then it has an old address. So like this would be cool to keep in my office or something like that. Yeah. So over here you got some old drawings of let's see here. Let's see what we got. We got a J.C. Penney ad from late fall. Doesn't have a date on it. Check that bad boy out. You gotta be careful giving me a hammer because I like to destroy stuff. There's like almost everything you can think of here. So this elevator over here is a maintenance elevator. It's an old oil hydraulic elevator, which means that there's nothing up top that pulls it up. It's something below it that pushes it up. Basically, there's an engine over here, and then there's like a holding tank. You put oil in there, it sucks the oil down, or the hydraulic fluid, and then that pumps the hydraulic. It's out of fluid right now, so I'm gonna have one of my maintenance guys come by and just try to tinker with it. But basically how it would work is you would pull this down. Hopefully we don't get stuck in here. Then you'd pull the metal one down. It would hold this safety, and then you would just, so it's working, which is pretty sweet. It just doesn't have the hydraulic fluid in it to pump the elevator up. So hopefully we can get it working. And look at that, there's a nice screen door. I'll put that at my house. So you guys will have to let me know what you think about this place in the comments. Should I renovate it? Should I sell it? Should I take the quick cash, or should I turn it into an apartment? Like, comment, subscribe so you guys can stay in tune with what I do with this warehouse.